money and violence. Because I like it. Because it keeps me from being violent. Idiocracy. A lot of idiots. Shrimp, pork, and Chinese sausage, and Cantonese duck. Yeah, I love the duck. Bugs Bunny is always safe around me. Daffy Duck got a problem. Mecca. He was in Medina, in the desert. He met Oba Ade Dayo. So they became friends. Oba Ade Dayo said, yo, let me divine for you.
Let me read for you, basically.
So he starts to read for him, and Oba Ade Dayo falls. He tells him, listen, where you have 3 problems from where you come from in Mecca. He says the first problem is there's a cliff over the town, and the sun don't shine on the town. And there's a dinosaur that lives in the cave, and it comes out and it eats the people. He says, and the third problem is that your women are barren.
The women are barren?
Are barren, they can't have kids. So he told them, listen, we're gonna feed a goat to Eshu. So they fed the goat to Eshu. Eshu stomped his feet on the ground, and an earthquake came. And when the dinosaur came out to eat somebody, the cliff fell on top of the dinosaur. And there was a large stone in the center of the city. So when they got to Mecca, the people were praising because the sun had come out and the dinosaur was dead. But they still couldn't have no children. So Momodu asked Oba Ade to divine for him, and he divined. And he said that they should grab stones. No, he said they needed to speak to the Sultan. He said, but the Sultan has already come out. He only comes out once a year, and that time has already passed. So he divined, and they said that they should grab little stones and take the stones and throw them at the house of the Sultan. So everybody in the town started throwing stones at the house of the Sultan. So the sounds of the stones started making noise. They sounded like thunder. But the Sultan came out. And when he came out, he saw that the cliff was gone. And they told him that Oba Ade had made a bow for him with Momodu. And they got rid of the dinosaur and they got rid of the shadow. He said, well, he needed the divine to find out why the women weren't having children. And so they divined. So they asked the Sultan, where was his lieutenant, his second in command? He said to watch him. So that night, they followed the lieutenant, and he went in the cave where the dinosaur was staying. And when they found him, when they went behind in there with him, they found him with the Sultan's wife. And so they captured him and they beheaded him. And so because the second in command was covered in the Sultan's wife and he had a captive, all the women were cursed. So when the Sultan got his wife back, when the first child that they gave birth, it was a girl. And they gave the name Ifatuma because Ifa gave them. And so that became Fatima, right? And so the custom of throwing the stones came from them waking up the Sultan.
They still do that.
Okay. Then in Ofun Obe, Nana Buruku was the mother to the people that lived in the desert, and she was dying. And so they came to find out what they could do for their mother, and they divined for her, and Ofun Bay came out. And they said that they should spend their money to feed their mother to get her healthy. But the eldest of her children said, for what reason? She's old already. Will we just be wasting our time and our money? He said, let's let her die. And so they decided that they would starve her. So they started to feed her gruel every day. Every time they fed her the soup, she didn't want the soup. She refused to eat it. And every day she did that, she scratched a line on the wall. till the day came when she was on her deathbed. And so she called all her children and they came to get her blessings. And she told them to count the scratches on the wall. She says, for every day that I starve, you'll starve now in honor of me to get my blessings. And the Ramadan was born. That's why it's done around the moon with Nana Buduku, Fumbe. Feel me? That the Muslim has to starve because he starved his mother. You understand? So that's the custom of them. They worship a feminine deity. You understand? Okay. So that even the word for God in Jesus' language is Allah. Because it comes from the Elohim, because it's Aramaic. Right? So they got the Hebrew and then they got the Aramaic. And the Aramaic is Allah. Okay. And it has to do with a feminine cult. They worship feminine energy. You understand? Okay. Because they have to be conscious of the woman's cycle by way of the moon so that they could procreate. Feel me? Okay. And so this is where they say that Islam is born in these ODUs based on certain circumstances. You understand? Judaism is born in Ogunda Meiji. Christianity is born in Oyeku Meiji. Feel me? In Christianity, they told Jesus Christ that he should feed Eshu.
He said he didn't want to.
He said, for what? My nigga, I'm Jesus. They was like, my nigga, it's not gonna go well for you down there if you don't feed Eshu.
Run to his niggas.
He said, all right. And so they told him, they said, if you don't feed Eshu, your name gonna outlive your life. And then from that,
You don't feed Eshu what?
his name would outlive his life.
That's what
Remember that time I showed you on Google that little Orisha statues and they had Christ in the middle of surrounding the Orishas that we did like the same ODU about,
You know, Yeko Meiji. And so in Ogunda Meiji is where Judaism is born. That's where the circumcision is born. Circumcision is born in Ogunda. Feel me? That's the oath that they made with the blacksmith that marks them. You understand?
Well,
Killing me, Small.
Fuck him up! Fuck him up! Bird bitch try to play me. Heard she was talking crazy. She don't know who I be. I'm the last of the 3 JBs. What? It was 3 JBs. Yeah, man, it was 3 JBs. One in the penitentiary, one dead, one still in the street. Some niggas real, some niggas hold, some niggas straight fake, some niggas trained to go. Some niggas stand up, take the time, won't say shit on the road. Some niggas take the stand, wave the hand, man. Them niggas gotta go. We was on the block, we was in the mix, we was getting rich, we just had shit locked. We was serving all the niggas, fucking all the bitches, 3 JBs. 2 from Harlem, 1 a Bronx nigga, 2 of them getting cheese. The other J was